Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to the show. I thought I'd just come back and revisit the Neural DSP Mesa Mark II C+ plugin. The first video I did, I was totally new to the whole plugin. It was just really my first impressions. But since then, I've just had time to go through the plugin and just see what works and just see what the best way is to try and manipulate it to get the best tones out of it. So essentially what I've done to try and recreate some of those injustice for all sounds, which are really difficult to try and get on this amp because it's lacking like the B&B affix EQ of 2, it's lacking the Trident A range, it's that whole studio setup that Flemming Rasmussen had. It's missing that. We've just got the core amps, which are really cool, but I've found the best way just to try and recreate those injustice for all style tones is I've just used those IRs that are floating around on the internet, and I've incorporated an IR with the inbuilt sounds that's part of the software. And so what you essentially get is a sound that is pretty much like the record. And they're instantly recognizable tones as soon as you incorporate that with the IRs. I'll just go through some of the presets that I've made now. Everything that I'll show you now is downloadable. There's links in the description. So this is just the basic desktop app. I'm not going through Logic or recording in any certain way. I'm just doing a screen grab from QuickTime and we're just going through it. But the first one here you've heard, it's the original battery, and it's the one that I did just using Flemming Rasmussen's notes, and we've just sort of dialed in a really rough tone just for the video that day. It's not the best tone this software does. I've just added it into the presets for you to download in case you wanted that tone from that original video. But the Black Album tone, this is using the Mesa II C++ and an IR. And that's the basic Black Album raw tone. It sounds really cool when you jam along with the CDs. And now this is the Black Lead. And that's a really cool solo tone. It's just got that massive over-the-top reverb that Kirk had on the album. But anyway, next we'll just keep going on. We got Injustice for All's Blackened, and this is actually using the Blackened IR that's floating around. It's just a really boomy sort of sound. It might sound wrong to your ears, but when you play with the CD, it's right. These presets may sound a little bit strange on their own, but they're really cool when you jam along with the record. I'll just bring up this here. Blackened in the air, anyway, I'll just move on. I'm going to get sidetracked otherwise. Next. This is the Crunchberry. So what this actually is, it doesn't sound very good to my ears, and there's something actually missing. But what I did, I just went through James Hetfield's photos, and you can see the Crunchberry amp, that really popular one that he had. And these are the settings that are in the photo, whether or not they're actually his settings that we used, or they were just moving the amp and everything got bumped. But this is just recreating that exact tone, and I don't think it sounds good at all. But I just thought I'd just put that in just to see what it actually sounds like, but it's a really horrible tone. And next, it brings us back to Harvester of Sorrow. I had this one earlier on, and this is just using the Harvester of Sorrow IR blended with the microphones. And this is just a really solid preset I found that just works pretty much the whole album for Injustice for All if you're jamming along with it. I'll just show you a really quick part right now. Harvester of Sorrow. And that's really cool. That's a great sound. It really is a cool sound. Just something to consider before we move on. A lot of these presets, I've wound the inputs right down for where the guitar's actually going into the software. And I find it clips way too soon, and you get a bit of a compression, and it gets a little bit muddy and mushy on the top. This is really set for EMG 81, which is quite high output. And you'll see when I chug, it's actually going up fairly high when I chug. But use this to suit your own guitar. If your own pickups just aren't as high output, this will actually put you back in the ballpark to sound like this recording. And next we've got the Injustice lead, and this is actually utilizing the doubler. And it just gives a really interesting sound because it turns the mono into a stereo signal, and it's just delaying one of the channels just a little tiny bit, just to give you a really sense of like a wide spreading noise. And it sounds cool. It's just like the Injustice for All guitar solo. Right, and next, we've got Lamb of God. I'll just change guitars. I've added these Lamb of God presets. I know that they use Mark IVs on their albums, but this amp has just got a really solid and great foundation for that tone. And it's a really solid preset when you start playing along with the record and things. It comes across really sharp, you can hear it well. And then I've just added a Lamb of God solo tone to that as well from Mark Morton. So I've just thrown both those presets in there. I just think they're really cool. Right, we've got now the Live Shit San Diego tone. I've tried to incorporate James's Crunchberry amp, just using the photos there. It's just such a classic live sort of tone. You can try and jam along with those live albums if you want. They're so fast. I can't keep up with them at all, but let's just go up and find it. That was Seattle. Here it is. Creeping Death. My God, that was fast. They had intense shows. How cool. Okay, and next, what have we got the Live Shit tone from the Seattle concert. And this again, this is just pretty much the same. I think by the Black album, they just had a lot more mids going, a lot more crunch. But for the Seattle one, it was still very much Injustice for All. And that might sound a little bit more like a live concert if we kick in the doubler. And next, Orion. This is using Flemming Rasmussen's notes. I've just dialed in the amp exactly the same way that he did. I've incorporated and used it along with the IRs as well, but I think it's a pretty close Orion sound. And now we've got the Orion Harmony. This is just that harmonized section behind the bass line. And you get the idea, it's a really cool tone. And next, Basic Master of Puppets. It is incorporating the IRs as well. You can see it's actually using the Master of Puppets IR, but it sounds like the record. And Justice for All, Shortest Straw. It's a cool preset, it sounds just like the album. That's a really unique song for that album. And that wraps us up now. That's all the presets I've dialed in for the Neural DSP Mesa Mark IIc Plus plugin. It's really fun, it's just got some great tones to be had. But again, all the links will be in the description just so you can download everything we've been through today. All the IRs, the whole bit. But all that being said though, take care. I'll see you next week. Bye.